Alright, this is Mike 10, Form First Aid for a Fracture and a Burn. Alright, step 1, you're going to reassure casualty and explain the process of treating the fracture.
You're going to be okay. I'm going to treat your fracture with sand sling.
Loosen tight binding clothing and remove jewelry from limb, placing in casualty's pocket. Next, you're going to check for signs of circulation problems below injury. Check light-skinned persons for skin color pale white or bluish gray. Check dark-skinned persons by depressing toenail or fingernail beds and seeing how fast color returns. A slower return of color to the injured side indicates a circulation problem. Feel injured arm or leg to see if it is colder than the uninjured one. Ask about presence of numbness, tightness, or cold sensation.
Do you have numbness, tightness, or a cold sensation?
Next step is splint. You are provided a SAM splint. SAM splints do not require padding, no femur fractures. Improvised splints are made from 2 rigid objects using improvised material to secure the rigid object / keep fracture immobilized. Using improvised material to pad the splints. If splinting material are not available, use the chest wall to immobilize a suspected fracture of the arm and the uninjured leg to immobilize the fractured leg. As a rule, splint fracture in position found. If no circulation below fracture site or limb is grossly angulated, you cannot effectively splint it. You may need to gently realign it. With one hand supporting fracture site, use other to grasp part of the limb farthest from the fracture and gently pull traction. Ensure ends of splints do not press against groin. Pressure could interfere with blood circulation. Place 1 splint on each side of the arm / leg and pad appropriately. Make sure splints reach beyond joints, above and below fracture. A single SAM splint may be used for small fractures such as wrist. Tie non-slip knots on splint with improvised or actual cravats. Do not tie cravats directly over the fracture. Gently place at least 2 cravats above and 2 cravats below the fracture if possible. Check splint for tightness. Make sure cravats are tight enough to hold splint material securely in place. Recheck circulation below injury to make sure the circulation is not impaired. Make any adjustments to improve circulation without allowing splint to become ineffective. Alright, next step, sling. Make an improvised sling from non-stretch material. Ensure supporting pressure is not on uninjured side and hand of supporting arm is slightly higher than the elbow.
Hold this here. Force from please.
Recheck circulation below the injury to make sure that circulation is not impaired. Make any adjustments to improve circulation without allowing the sling to become ineffective. Next, you're going to treat for the burn. Cut casualty's clothing away from burns and remove potentially constricting items such as rings and bracelets. Apply a dry, sterile dressing, securing but not overly tight. Cover extensive burns with a sterile sheet or linen.